Hey guys, this is Naveen here. Welcome back to Naveen Automation Labs. So back to our Gatling series. Today I'm going to talk about one very important chapter that is called correlation in Gatling. So how to do one automatic correlation with Gatling with the help of check API. So far with the check API, we have already seen that how to validate a specific user. For example, that we have already seen that I'm checking the status and checking some other response code and everything. So this is for to provide the assertion. Also we can use a check API. Then we have one more concept. We can extract the data from the JSON response or kind of XML response that we are getting it. For example, let's say I'll give you an example, that is you go to any website. Let's say you go to this request res.in, and then let's say I simply call this particular list all the users, and from the list all the users, this is the response that we are getting. I want to get that, okay, this is the data and ID equal to 7, and then id equal to 7 I just want to capture from the response, and then I want to fetch API user 7 I want to write, and then I want to get the data only for user 7 where id equal to 7 is available over here. It means I want to call back to back, let's say 2 to 3 calls, and from the first response, from the first API response, I want to fetch the data that I want to use that particular data as an input for the next API call, like that. So how to do this? So for doing this, we have to use the concept of correlation with the check API. But we have to pick some good API, not like request res.in. This is just a dummy API. So let's go to this particular section, go rest.co.in. Simple, hit this particular URL, go rest.co.in. They give a lot of real-time online REST API for testing and prototyping, and they're already available 24/7. And then you will get the kind of real responses both in XML and JSON both. And these are different request calls are available. You can see different post, get, patch, delete methods are available. But what you have to do, guys, we have to log in with this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in first. So we have to create your account on this particular website, gores.co.in. You can create the account with Google, Facebook, and GitHub. So I'm going to prefer GitHub, and I'm going to log in now. Okay, and then it will give you one API access token, because these guys say that, okay, if you really want to call any of their APIs, you have to pass this particular bearer access token that you have to pass. So we have to do that. So just simple, I'll give you one demo over here. Copy this access token and then go to their REST console over here. And then it's saying what kind of API that you want to call. Let's say I want to call a get API, and this is a public API, user API I want to call. What is your header? Header name is authorization, and then you have to write bearer as a prefix, and this is my header name. And we have to copy paste this particular header over here along with this. And you can call this particular API in your Postman also. And for get call, do you have any request body? No, we don't have that. And simple send the request, and you will get the response over here. You can see that I'm getting 200 response code, and then data I'm getting over here. See ID equal to 2, something like this. Anasia Chopra, Priya Patil, Bisham Gill, something like this. I'm getting the complete response in the form of JSON over here like that. These are the response headers. I'm getting it. So this API I want to call with authorization, and then the scenario is when I call this particular API, from this API I want to fetch ID equal to 2. I want to store in a particular variable, and the same ID equal to 2 I want to use for some other API. For example, I simply go to gores.co.in once again. They have a specific API, let's see, for a specific user. See this particular user 123, right? So give me the user slash 123 means this is the user ID. So what I'm going to do that I simply go to their console, users slash only give me the details for user where ID equal to 2. So first I'll call get all API. It means get all the user API, fetch ID equal to 2, and pass this particular ID equal to 2 over here, and then send the request. So here you are getting only data only for Anasia Chopra, something like this. See, I'm not getting the entire data for all the users. I'm getting the data, the response body only for this particular user, like that. So let's see, for example, if I have 123 user, you simple run it. You have resource not found available, 404 error. So for 123 user ID is not available. So if I'm passing, let's see, user ID 4, so I'm getting user ID is Bisham Gill, like that. So I want to fetch a 4 and then pass to the next consecutive API call. So how to do this? This is called correlation in performance testing. How to do that? So let me go to the Gatling, and I simple under simulations, I'm going to create simple Scala class, and this class name I'm going to simple write, that is, let's see, check response and extract data, something like this, whatever the name you want to give. I gave a proper name, check response and extract data. So this is the class that got created, and this class will extend simulation. Okay, so yeah, simulation, and then simulation that we have to import, and other than that we have to import other two important packages as well. So I'm going to simple copy those packages. One second, that we have already seen many times. Now immediately I have to create my HTTP configuration. So I quickly create HTTP simple configuration, which is equal to HTTP dot what is your base URL. My base URL is whatever the base URL it is, gores.co.in. So I simple copy this. This is my base URL, guys. So this is my base URL, and I'll put a forward slash over here. And do you have any header? Yes, we have header. And what is the header name? So header, guys, this is the header name is authorization. So copy this header name, because without authorization you cannot hit this particular API. And what is the header value? So header value is authorization value bearer and whatever token ID. This token ID you cannot use it because this is associated with my account. I'll refresh this token after this session. You have to create your account on this particular site, and then you can generate the token, and you can simply go to your access token over here, and this is the token is available in your account. You can regenerate the access token, you can refresh the access token also, like that. So let's see, this is my go to rest console, this is my token. I'll copy and then complete along with the bearer. You have to copy this and then paste it over here, like that. So let's see, this is the HTTP configuration that we have created. Then I'm going to create a scenario. So scenario variable, which is equal to a simple write, that is a scenario. And what kind of scenario? I simple write, let's see, check first of all that scenario is completely, that is a check correlation. Okay, and extract data, something like this. Let's see, this is the scenario that I have created now. Okay, after this particular scenario, what kind of API call? So first, let's see, I want to call first, this is my first call. The first call is that get all the users. So how will you get it? So I simple write dot execute method, and this is my HTTP, and what kind of call it is. So this is my, let's see, get all, or let's see, get all users or get a specific users. You can simple write. So let's say I'm simple writing first of all get all users. This is what I'm going to write it, and this is a get call. So I simple say that let me just remove it from here. This is a get call, and what is the service URL that you want to use? So for get call, guys, you have to use this one, public API users. Don't use forward slash. Forward slash, we have already put it over here. And then after that, what do you want? After that, see this carefully, there is a method check method. Then I want to extract the data. So let's see, when you hit this particular API from here, I want to extract the data for ID equal to 2. So this is available under this particular package. You see data and ID. So here, guys, they are using one very popular API that is called JSONPath API. You have seen this particular API. If you know RestAssured or HttpClient, you have seen over there as well. JSONPath API, you can use that. And they said, okay, give me the path of that particular JSON to reach at this particular ID. So there are some certain online simulators are available. You can validate your JSON path. So how to validate that? You have to understand a specific syntax over here, that we have to go to data, and under data we have to go to ID. But if you see that, okay, data is a kind of array. You can see this is a JSON array. This is a 0th value, right? This is the first value, this is the second value, like that. So you can see this is a JSON array actually. So what I'm going to do, that I just simply copy this entire stuff, control C, and then you simply go to this site JSON path curiousconcept.com, or there are so many online validators and expects JSON path expressions are available. You simple copy paste your JSON data over here, complete JSON data over here, and then you can write JSON path expression here. So I simple write that is JSON path will start with dollar dot data. It means first you go to the data array, and from this particular data array, see this is called the zeroth. This is called the zeroth array. Let's see, this is called the first array, like that. So I simple say that okay, data, go to the first array and give me the ID from there. So simple write dot ID, and you process the data. Let's see what exactly the kind of value we are getting. We are getting 3 over here. It means we are getting over here 3. If I pass 0, so this is, I should get ID equal to 2. So you can see ID equal to 2. If I'm writing dot name, so let's see, write a dot name. So I should get Anasuya Chopra, because this is the 0th value is available over here. This is the first value in the JSON array. So JSON array is a collection of multiple JSON objects. So this is a complete object and available in this particular data JSON array. Now I can use this particular data 0.id as an JSON path expression. So you have to use the same expression, guys, over here. So I simply write in double quotes, give me the data 0 for ID, and then what exactly I want. I simply want to use save as. I want to create a variable over here. So let's see, this is my user ID variable that I have created, like this. So this user ID variable will be created. This user ID variable will be holding the data ID equal to 2. Okay, and this user ID variable I can use for my next call. So I'm going to create a next call over here. So I simply write that is, let's see, dot execute method, and then I want to get a specific data, a specific user. So for example, I simply write, sorry, HTTP, what kind of request you have. I simply say that this is my get specific user. Okay, and I simply write dot get method, and specific user is, again, this is your public -API / users, and then for a specific data, for a specific user, guys, as I told you, let's see, for example, I want to get a data /2. So this is the value for Anasuya Chopra. I'm getting it. So this /2, I cannot write a hard-coded value over here. It means whatever the data is available, the user ID that you are capturing it, same user ID, you have to pass it over here. So you have to pass with the dollar. Simple put a dollar and curly brackets, and then user ID over here, like this. And this user ID, guys, you have to, yeah, that is like this. That's it. So make sure everything is in double quotes. Perfect. And then you want to check something. So I want to simple write dot check, and I want to check a couple of things over here. First of all, I want to fetch the data once again, that is from the JSON path. And I simply say that this time, whenever you are getting this particular data, I want to validate ID is equal to 2 and name is equal to Anasuya Chopra. So I simply write that the same ID JSON path. First, I'll fetch it, and I simply write dot is, it should be equal to what? It should be equal to ID is equal to 2. So this is the first assertion that I have written over here, and make sure that is should be written within double quotes, like that. Okay, and then I want to write dot check one more assertion from the same JSON path, and I simply say that this is data 0. Instead of ID, I simply write name, and the name should be what? Name should be equal to this Anasuya Chopra. So I'll do one thing. I'll simply come over here. This is the name. Okay, Anasuya Chopra, and I want to put one more check over here. That is, let's see, I simply copy this guy dot check, and what is the email ID? So I simply write email over here. So this is the email ID is democa@gmail.com. So I simply write this is my email.com. Okay, close this. So this is a scenario. This scenario is ready over here, right? And all looks good to me. Here it's giving you an error. See, this is S, we have to remove it from here. Yeah. Okay, now let's set up and run this. So setup, inject this particular scenario, a dot inject with the at once user only one, and then what is your protocol? So a simple protocols, HTTP configuration. Okay, so this is, I'm calling the second API ID. Okay, so this is called correlation. Here from the first API, I have a fetch ID storing this particular user ID variable. In the same user ID variable, in the next API call, I'm using it user ID over here. Very good scenario you can use for the post call. First, you need to call a post call, fetch the user, and then simple call a put call, update the same user with the same user ID. Like this also you can do that. So let's see this and let's see it is working or not. So I'm going to run the engine and then we will run this particular simulation. Okay, so simulation, speaking all the simulations, simulation number is check response code and extract data. This one, extract data. Okay, so simulation number one. I simply write test over here, description, and let's see it is working or not. Oh, nice. It is absolutely working fine, but it is giving you error. It's saying that JSONPath ID find too, but actually found nothing. Oh, that is, let's see, is okay. It's giving you error. See, did not find that particular data. So let me check dollar data zero and I got the problem. See, data zero.id, but here we don't need to use because when you call this particular user, the second API, guys, in the second API, there is no JSON array. This is normal data. This is not JSON array. So simple write data.id over here. So let me simple write data.id, remove zero from here, and data.email and data, okay, zero.id. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, so the simulation name is extract data number one, write some description, and simulation got started. This time there are no errors, absolutely working fine. Got it? What is the problem, guys? The problem was that when you call the second API with this particular user ID number two, you are getting this particular data, and this is not a JSON array, right? But the first time you were getting with the JSON array with all the user information, you were getting data with the square bracket. This is called a JSON array in JSON. But here we are getting data with curly bracket. Only these number of JSON objects are available. So this is another JSON object. Under this JSON object, we have other objects are available, but this is not a JSON array. So I cannot use data 01 or indexing over here. First time we have to use the indexing and then ID, name, email. I'm fetching it and it's validating, and the response is absolutely working fine, and you are getting a proper result over here. So I simply copy this entire index.html path, check it like that, and you can see in the detail section, get a specific user that you are getting it. First, get all users. From the get all users, you are getting ID equal to 2, and get a specific user. You are hitting this API with the same ID like that. This is called correlation in performance testing, and in Gatling we can use check API with the JSON path to fetch the data. Same thing you can use for XML path also, you have it. Now let's make it fail. So what I'm going to do that instead of 0, I put it 1 over here. 1 means you will get the data like that. It means data 1.id. When you fetch it, you will get the data for the second response. User ID is equal to 3 for Priya Patil, and Priya Patil Junior at some.biz. This is the email ID, but I'm deliberately validating for Anasuya, and this is the Gmail ID, right? So it will be failed obviously. So let's see how exactly it is giving you the error. So the assertion will be failed. So run your engine, pick this particular number one, test description, and let's see. So here it is absolutely getting failed. You can see data ID is equal to find is 2, but we actually found 3 over here like that. Okay, so like this you can see that. So I simply say that, okay, let's see, make it 3, and let's see, because assertion will be failed. This is a hard assertion, immediately it will be failed. It will not reach over here. So now I'm making it 3 so that it will be passed, and let's see what kind of error we are getting for this assertion at line number 25. So let me run the engine once again, number 1, and test. Okay, it got started, and see this, it's saying clearly that find is Anasya Chopra. This is what we are expecting, but we actually found Priya Patil Jr. over here, like that. So this is how you can, simple guys, make your assertion failed as well, like this. So I'm making it to 1 only, making it to 0 only. Okay, so I'll push this particular code to the Git repository. You just refer this and please write some good test cases like that. I'm giving you one scenario. First, you have to do a post call and then update the same user with the same user ID from the post call that you are getting it, and pass the user ID in the put call in the next call, and then set up this. Let me know if you have any issues, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching this particular video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're liking this particular series. This tool is very, very famous in the market nowadays, and a lot of people are asking for that. All good product companies, they are asking for Gatling. So please prepare this. It's very simple, very straightforward, and it looks like very much like RestAssured if you have seen RestAssured earlier. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for watching Naveen Automation Labs.